Hey, I'm Dan Moorbacher, and today I've been tasked with giving you a task of sharing your overnight adventure stories. After a year of being cooped up with COVID, we're all longing for adventures, real adventures, sand in your feet and in your hair and wind in your face. Sometimes the best thing to do when you can't go out is to share stories of old adventures that have stuck with you. So, we're asking you to record or write down your stories of mystic overnight adventures and share them on #Gallagher Gala, #Gallagher Gala, #Gallagher Gala, and tag Camp Gallagher. Maybe you haven't been a Camp Gallagher camper or staff member yet. We still want to hear your adventures as well. And spread the word to family and friends about the Gallagher adventure. So here's my story of a mystic overnight adventure. It was 1978. I was a second-year camper in Dungeness Lodge. I believe Jan Bunagel was our director. I know for a fact that Dave Garrett was my lodge leader. We set off for an overnight in fiberglass canoes, on your knees, never sit in a canoe, and went south and around down to Squaxin Island, which was a beautiful overnight spot that we used to be able to use. In the evening on that first night, Dave Garrett gathers around a picnic table with flashlights and tide charts and came up with a scheme that the next day we would paddle up behind Hartstein Island to Gerald's Cove and steal the Hershey bars of Quilcene Lodge that had already been to Gerald's Cove. So before the sun even came up, we got up and ate our oatmeal and raisins and had our hot chocolate. I thought it was a great plan, great scheme, and as soon as there was a glimmer of light from the sun, we set out to paddle up the backside of Hartstein and under the bridge. We were the only things moving on the water. It was a beautiful day, calm as could be. Went under the bridge, had the tide with us, a nice easy paddle. Rode into Gerald's Cove and beached our canoes north of the dock. And while most of the lodge carried our gear up to the upper group spot by the field, 3 or 4 of us with Dave Garrett snuck into Quilcene's group spot. We somehow found the candy bars while they were sleeping, waiting for the tide to head south. And then in a moment of poor imagination and forethought, we stole their canoe paddles. And we were quite pleased with ourselves and went up to our campsite and went back to bed for a couple hours. Mid-morning, we woke up and discovered that Quilcene had found their canoe paddles. Not a big surprise. I believe they left the candy bars. But we spent the day playing on the field, throwing the frisbee, playing cards, trying to solve the best riddle in the world of the man who lived on a hill in China. Just had a great day until someone came up from the dock and mentioned that all of our canoes were missing. Great prank, Quilcene. It's better to have a canoe with no paddles than a paddle with no canoes. And we went down to the dock, and Dave Garrett pointed out, they were all tied to a buoy about 40 yards out at the mouth of the cove. And he scratched his chin and said, somebody's got to go get those. Well, this was my summer of adventure and being willing to try anything. So I grabbed my big old Mae West life vest and swam out to the buoy and untied the quadruple bowline and pulled 6 canoes back into shore. And saved the canoes, and we had the rest of the day at Gerald's Cove, and all I remember, greatest overnight adventure ever.